In this video, I'm going to head down to California and meet up with my buddy Katz-Moses. Together, we're going to build this children's helper stool. It's a two-in-one kind of thing. It's a stool, but it folds down into a table. All in all, it was a fun project, and I'm not going to lie, things got a little weird. Oh yeah, this video is also sponsored by Policy Genius. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. All right, so how much are you paying me to help you do this? My going rate is, okay. Craig, run out and grab us some bourbon. Thank you.
Today.
What's the spray tan?
Mark's a perfect.
Yeah, if he stopped doing the fake tanner, he wouldn't show up so orange on screen. Oh my gosh, if you spell cat with a K, that could be cat moth.
It could be cat moth. You like the new logo?
It's okay.
Today
we're going to build
Jason from
kids
Bourbon Moth is here.
Stool.
We're gonna kids stools.
I didn't design these. He designed them.
Cool plug cutters.
You're gonna watch me build this thing.
How do you want to get started cutting these templates?
Well, I figured I'd grab the jigsaw, just cut them out. Do you just trace it on here? Or?
That's just not how we do things here. Let's head over to the laser and cut out some templates.
What the hell's a laser? You see, Jonathan's on a different level than I am. Not a different level as in he's a much better woodworker. He's actually a mediocre woodworker at best. But a different level in the sense that he's got a ton of very expensive toys. One of them is this $20,000 laser. He's actually got 3 of these sitting in his shop. And he uses them to cut out templates and that sort of thing. So, we used his $20,000 laser to cut out the templates for this project, which will be available on our website for purchase, as well as these step-by-step plans. So if you want to build one of these for a child in your life, or if you're just really short and need a stool, get online and get yourself some plans. Now, the first thing we needed to do was break down the plywood into all of our individual parts and pieces. We didn't need a full sheet of plywood, so we pulled out the track saw and we decided to cut it right in half, giving us a 4x4 sheet of plywood. And by we, I meant me. That thing's not coming off.
That's pretty unbelievable. 17
He does this a lot where I talk to him and he pretends to listen, but he's just like, as if I'm a 5-year-old. After we had our full sheet of birch plywood cut in half, so we had a smaller piece to work with, we started ripping it down on the table saw. Every time we ripped down a piece, I would very meticulously label that piece so we wouldn't get all of our parts and pieces confused. The nice thing was, Jonathan already had these plans made up. It shows every single piece we need to cut out, how many pieces we can get out of a single sheet of plywood, and all of our final measurements. Plans. Who knew they could be so easy? So with the plans in one hand and our wood in our other hand, that sounded weird, we started cutting pieces up. We'd mark them off on the plans every time we got a piece cut out, and then I would label each piece according to how it was labeled on the plans, so we could keep everything nice and straight. Now, I thought this build was going to be a true team effort, and I'll tell you, it started out that way. We were both working together really great, getting things done fast. And then Jonathan mysteriously disappeared, had to take a phone call, and of course I was left to do the rest of the work alone. Alright guys, well, Jonathan has pretty much done nothing, and I've done everything, and now we're at the next step, which according to his plans, gosh, I don't know how to read plans. We put some things together, I think. I really don't know.
We're going to start doing some template routing. I think one of the things to remember when you're template routing is you want to get as close to your line as possible with like a jigsaw first. You don't want to try and hog out a bunch of material with a 1/4-inch router bit. Jason, you have anything to add?
Do you think that maybe we should do like a smaller version of each one first? Like a sample?
A sample version? I think we could. We could do like dollhouse.
Like a stool sample of each one? Jonathan decided to pass on the smaller stool sample idea, so we just forged ahead on the real thing, using the templates to trace out our shapes onto plywood.
Now we gotta use the jigsaw to cut them out?
Yeah, baby.
Oh, so it's not all lasers and daisies, is it?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Gotta use the jigsaw at some point. Where is that?
Now, after watching Jonathan's videos for a few years now, I expected a pretty professional setup when I went down to build in his shop. And what I found was a piece of plywood jankily clamped to some old, rickety sawhorses.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Don't worry. Nothing weird's happening here.
Did the jigsaw blade break?
No, we're fine. Hasn't broken yet. Need a hammer.
At least what Jonathan lacked in setup, he made up for with quality tools. So with a fresh jigsaw blade inserted in the saw, we really started to make progress. We also drilled some holes in each corner to make cutting these out a lot easier. And pretty soon we had all of that interior material removed and we could start flush trimming everything to perfectly match our templates. So we used a little double-sided tape and we stuck the template to each one of our plywood pieces. And then this happened.
Okay. All right. I gotcha. Dude, are we really doing this like this? This is so funny.
After struggling to cut out our interior material on the janky setup with the jigsaw, Jonathan thought it'd be a great idea to do the same thing again with the flush trim router. That's when I was like, hold on, buddy. There's gotta be a better way to do this. And I unclamped our plywood and templates from his janky sawhorses, and I showed him how to do a nice setup over on his work table that would be much sturdier and make our lives a lot easier. Basically, I just screwed some sacrificial pieces of plywood directly to his outfeed table to raise our plywood and templates up off the work surface, and then using a little double-sided tape, we could just stick each piece onto those sacrificial pieces, and now we had a nice, solid work surface that wasn't going to be bouncing all over the place, and in turn would give us a much better finished product. I like to think that I really taught Jonathan something in this build, that from now on he'll be setting things up properly. But I'm not keeping my hopes up. To cut out all of our pieces, we used a flush trim bit from Bits and Bits and this sweet router jig that Tamar from 3x3 Customs designed. It's available on her website. I'll put a link in the video description, and it makes cutting out stuff like this so much easier because you have a much wider base to work with than just the stock one that comes on the router. Somehow, Jonathan started all the routing work and I ended up finishing it by myself while he stood around and danced. But we got it done in the end, and we were ready to move on to step 2.
Hey, people. I'm here with my good friend, Jay Katz.
Don't ever touch my hair.
Oh, I don't have hair, so I like to touch other people's. It's day 2. We didn't build anything. We cut a bunch of stuff yesterday.
We did. We trimmed everything down to size.
We redid the templates because I, very smartly, let him know that it'd be much easier if there was holes in the templates to line up all of our screws. So now we recut them. Well, he recut them. I don't know how lasers work. And we're gonna line these up, mark out all of our screw holes, get this thing put together.
We use
Punch.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna get to it. Jeez, so violent.
Now, I knew it wouldn't be a good woodworking video if there wasn't one shot of me delicately blowing sawdust off my hands dramatically for the camera. So, to make this an official YouTube video, here you go.
Okay, we're punching holes.
Yep.
Okay. Need a hammer? Or we're just gonna,
That's spring loaded.
Oh, spring.
I'd never used one of these spring-loaded punches before. I gotta say, it was awesome, which is why you can now purchase them on my website. Link in the video description.
I think it's out. Do you have some refills?
After marking out on all of our plywood pieces exactly where we needed to put screws, it was time to hook this thing together. But we didn't want to just slap the thing together with screws and make it look all janky. I mean, sure, we're in J-Cat's shop, but that's not how I roll. So we decided that first we would drill holes so that after we hooked the whole thing together, we could fill those screw holes with plugs. So we used a countersink bit chalked up in his fancy drill press to pre-drill all of our holes. Then Jonathan was going to grab some walnut and start cutting plugs, and I was like, yo, dude, this stool's for kids. Let's make it more fun. And I took away his walnut and replaced it with this sweet skateboard blank. It's multicolor, got that rainbow thing going on, and I think it would really give the stool that pop of color it needed. He agreed, and we started cutting some plugs. He also had these awesome plug cutters, the best I have ever used. These things are like halfway between a Forstner bit and a plug cutter. They cut like butter, which is why I'm also now carrying these on my website as well. So, go get some. After cutting out all our plugs, I had this genius idea that we take our plugs that we just cut out and we stick them to a piece of wood with double-sided tape. Then we can run them through the bandsaw and it'll just leave all the plugs nicely stuck to the double-sided tape and we won't have to pick them all up off the bandsaw. And that idea didn't work at all. So, don't try that because it's a dumb idea.
Hey, this video was sponsored by Policy Genius, one of our favorite sponsors. And I know what you're thinking, an insurance website, your favorite sponsor? Well, they're not an insurance website. They're more than that. Now, most people think insurance is boring, and why do I need it? Well, if you care about your family and you want them to be taken care of, maybe that's a good reason to need it. You might be thinking, well, it's hard to get. I gotta fill out all these forms. I gotta do all this research. False. Policy Genius will take out all that hassle and do it for you. You can just get on their website and quick and easy you can find and compare quotes and find the best policy for you and your family. If you don't believe me, well, just check this out.
Policy Genius was built to modernize the life insurance industry. Their technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from top companies like AIG and Prudential in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $17 per month for $500,000 of coverage. And they're not incentivized to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. There are no added fees and your personal information is private. No wonder they have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot.
Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, Jason, darling, all that's well and good, but where do I go from here? Maybe you don't sound like that, but maybe that's what you're thinking. Well, it's really easy to take the next step. All you have to do is this.
Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. You deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. So head to policygenius.com/bourbonmoth or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you can save. Then before we hooked everything together, we decided to pre-sand all of our parts and pieces. And by we, once again, I mean me.
Memories, la da boo doo boo doo boo. Cinnamon chocolate covered memories of the way things were.
With everything sanded, I kind of held all the pieces in place while Jonathan put some clamps on. This would hold all of our cross-supporting pieces together so that we could pre-drill and get our screws in there to attach all of our parts and pieces and make our stool. We just needed a drill bit.
Maybe a tad big. You are the most organized person I know.
Right?
Why didn't I think of putting my drill bits in a drawer on the floor? First thing I do when I get home, drill bits are going on the floor.
Gotta be.
Yep.
So with the right size drill bit chalked up in the drill and an impact driver with a driver head, we started taking turns. I would pre-drill, Jonathan would pre-drill, I'd put in fasteners on my side, hand the impact driver over to him, and he'd put in fasteners on his side. Did you need 2 people to build this stool? Well, no, but I really wanted to make Jonathan feel like he was helping out, so I let him do some things here or there, just like I would with my son back home. Now, this stool is kind of a 2-in-1 thing, so there's really 2 parts to it. It can become a taller step stool or it can fold down into a little desk. that kids can sit at and do their homework, or 401ks, that sort of thing. So after getting our 2 parts screwed together, it was time to plug those holes with our beautiful rainbow skateboard blank plugs. So Jonathan filled each little hole with a nice little drip of glue, and I inserted those colorful plugs and tapped them in place with this little mallet. Everything seems to be smaller here in California. Even the flush cut saws are itty bitty, and also available on my website for purchase. Link in video description. After getting the plugs all inserted and flush cut, we gave them a nice sanding, and I do say so myself, the rainbow, yeah, that was a good idea. I mean, for a kid's stool, this looks pretty money. After that, it was a little more plug filling, flush cutting, and sanding, and in no time we had both parts of our 2-part stool all assembled, plugged, and looking pretty good. Now it was time to just hook those 2 parts together with some hinges so that they could fold from a desk up into a step stool. Just like that. Bada bing, bada boom, zip zap zoop. To hook our hinges on, we simply clamped the 2 pieces together in the orientation in which they needed to be, stuck some double-sided tape on the back, and then stuck our hinges to the double-sided tape. This would hold our hinges exactly where they needed to land, and we wouldn't be fumbling around trying to hold them in place. Now, Jonathan started using that spring-loaded punch to mark out where we needed to drill all of our holes. I tried to explain on camera why there's a better way to do this, but my microphone wasn't on. Basically what I'm saying is that Rockler makes a centering drill bit that is perfect for hinges, and we wouldn't have to use the punch, and it would be a 1-step process instead of a 2-step process. So if I was in my shop, I'd use those. But we're not in my shop. We're in Jonathan flippin' Katz-Moses' shop. So we'll do things his way, even though they're wrong. In no time, we had the hinges installed and connected those 2 pieces together. Now it folds from a desk into a step stool. But it's not quite safe, because if it's in the step stool position, well, the kid could fall forward and smack their face on the floor or burn it on a hot oven. So we didn't want that. So we needed to add some latches. But before we could add our latches, we needed to add some small spacer blocks at the bottom of the stool, because the hinges created an 1/8-inch gap at the top where the 2 pieces hinge. So we added some more rainbow plugs at the bottom, and using an 1/8-inch spacer block, we cut them so they were exactly an 1/8 inch proud, and this would give us a nice even gap between the 2 pieces. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, you can see it in this clip right here. When you fold the stool together with that 1/8 inch gap at the bottom, now it's spaced the same as it is at the top with the hinges in there. Oh, pretty nice, eh? Next, it was time to add those latches so that everything could lock together and be secure, and most importantly, be nice and safe for all the little children of the world. So I got the fun job of holding the latches while Jonathan screwed them in. And to his credit, he did not send a screw through my finger. Except once, but that was more my fault than his fault. After putting latches on to hold it in the stool position, we decided we might as well put some latches on to hold it in the desk position as well. So we folded it back down into the desk position, and we added some more latches down there. After everything had latches on all of its various shapes and parts and pieces, I think we were pretty much done with the actual construction of the stool. The only thing left to do was one final finish sand. Jonathan was doing a pretty terrible job at that, though, so I kept having to point out the parts that he missed. But we got it sanded in the end. At least I thought we did.
Man, you missed so much over here.
I didn't. You pushed me out of the way before I had a chance to.
Yeah, right.
Now, if this was my shop, I would choose to finish this with Rubio Monocoat, because as you know, that is my favorite finish, and I think it is the easiest finish to use. But Jonathan didn't have any, so we opted for spray aerosol lacquer in a can, because, you know, we care about the environment. And we also care about ourselves so much that we decided to spray it without any respirators or PPE on of any kind, because we're idiots. And I gotta tell you, After spraying that stuff in a confined area, I was starting to smell colors and taste sounds. It was pretty cool.
Done, baby.
Yeah, wait. That was gonna be so cool.
I didn't know what was happening. I'm sorry.
I was gonna kick it and it was gonna be like, wow!
Whatcha?
And dust was gonna pop up, and then the voiceover was gonna say, and that was the end to a glorious chapter. But you screwed it up because you got all scared.
Let's do it again.
And that was the end to a glorious chapter.
Is this the most impressive piece of woodworking I've ever done? Well, no, it's a bunch of pieces of plywood screwed together. But it was a fun project to do with my good buddy Jonathan Katz-Moses. And it's a great little project to do for that special little someone in your life. Honestly, his daughter absolutely loved this thing. And it was clear to see that she is a much better woodworker than her dad. I mean, like, way, way better. Anyways, if you want to build a child's helper stool of your very own, the plans and templates are available on my website, as well as all the various tools and supplies that you saw us using in this video. So head to that link in the video description, get yourself some tools, get yourself some plans, and make yourself a flippin' stool. Big thanks to Jonathan for building this project with me, and make sure to go check out his video of this project over on his channel. He might have a little bit of a different story.
Okay, ready? All right, fun fact. This is the outro, but this is only 10 seconds after we filmed the intro. But you didn't realize that because there was a whole video in between. Ha! That's what you learn when you're down in California, Hollywood. Hashtag.
Good enough for YouTube.
Yep.
Video magic, baby.
We got it done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video and you were able to follow along even with Jonathan getting in the way and interrupting a lot.
Don't forget to go over to Jason's website, pick up the plans. They do say my name on it, but they'll be on his. And these really cool templates that have all the screw holes. Man, that made things easy, huh?
Yeah, it really did. My idea.
It absolutely was. I can admit that over here on the Bourbon Moth channel.
All right, well, that's it. You guys go enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm going to start driving back to Oregon. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to be back in my shop. We're actually going to be building something again. Treehouse is on hold for a while, so stay thirsty, my friends. Or as Jonathan Katz-Moses always says at the end of his videos, what did you?
I can never remember. Stay safe in the shop. Thanks for watching, and stay safe in the shop.
That's a lame outro. You got to think
It
of a
is.
cooler tagline than that.
Stay
like
woody, my friend.
wood may be hard, but the projects don't have to be. Dude, you can pay me for that if you want. That'd
Okay.
be beautiful on your website.
Listen, I think that's going to be the hero picture on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Stay chubbed up, my friends.
Stay elegant.
How about
Stay frosty.
if it's wood, it's good.
Hard. Something with hard wood. Hard.
You ain't thinking if you ain't drinking.